were Roman emperors worshipped as gods? Have you ever wondered how the rulers of the mighty Roman Empire were viewed by their people? The question of whether Roman emperors were worshipped as gods is fascinating and complex. Let's break it down. Roman emperors were not worshipped as gods during their lifetimes in a universal sense. However, they were often honored with divine attributes. This practice was part of what is known as the Roman Imperial Cult. It developed as a way to express loyalty to the emperor and unify the vast Roman Empire under a shared religious and political framework. At the heart of this belief system, emperors were seen as mortal rulers. They governed by the will and favor of the traditional Roman gods rather than being considered gods themselves. The imperial cult recognized emperors as having a divine essence or a special connection to the gods. However, they were not viewed as equal to the immortal gods of Roman religion. Instead, the emperor was honored as the earthly agent who maintained peace and prosperity, a concept known as the Pax Deorum, or peace of the gods. This honor was expressed through rituals, temples, and priesthoods dedicated to the emperor and the well-being of the empire. The practice began to gain traction during the reign of Augustus, the first emperor. Augustus was careful to avoid claiming divinity for himself while allowing the establishment of temples and priesthoods in his honor. These were often linked with the goddess Roma, the personification of Rome itself. After Augustus's death, the Senate officially deified him, granting him the title divus. This set a precedent for subsequent emperors. However, not all emperors were deified. Some, like Tiberius, Caligula, Nero, and Domitian, were denied official deification due to unpopularity or misconduct. Still, they might have been worshipped in certain provinces, especially in the East. In practical terms, the imperial cult served several purposes. It reinforced the emperor's authority by associating him with divine favor. It provided a religious framework that promoted loyalty and unity across diverse peoples and cultures within the empire. It also acted as a political tool to legitimize ruling dynasties. Temples dedicated to emperors and the goddess Roma were widespread, from Britain to North Africa. Priesthoods associated with the cult were influential positions, often sold or granted to local elites. Interestingly, the worship of emperors was more pronounced in the provinces than in Rome itself, where traditional Roman religious practices remained dominant. The cult did not replace local gods but added a layer of Roman identity and political allegiance. The practice continued into the Byzantine period, with the last emperor receiving divine honors in the early 6th century after Christ. In essence, Roman emperors were not outright worshipped as gods in the same way traditional deities were during their lifetimes. However, they were venerated as semi-divine figures whose authority was sanctioned by the gods. After death, many were formally deified by the Senate, becoming part of the official Roman pantheon of divine ancestors. This system of imperial worship was a distinctive feature of Roman religion and governance, reflecting the empire's complex relationship between politics and religion.